had to answer one of the weirdest questions a White House press secretary has ever been asked.
This morning, President Trump accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior punishable by death. Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No.
Okay, that's...
What initially seemed like just another late-night monologue quickly shifted into something far more uncomfortable for the White House, because Jimmy Kimmel didn't deliver a quick punchline and move on. Instead, he slowed everything down, placing the administration's own statements side by side and allowing viewers to watch the contradiction reveal itself in real time. That approach gave the segment a different kind of impact. It wasn't just about humor, it was about recognition. And once that recognition set in, it created a deeper effect than a typical joke ever could. For Donald Trump, the issue seemed to become clear almost immediately. This was no longer about a single remark, one press briefing, or an awkward exchange. It was about a pattern, and patterns become far more difficult to dismiss when a large audience begins to see them all at once.
Little Karoline had to defend her boss calling a reporter piggy on his plane.
What did the president mean when he called a reporter piggy? Look, the president is very frank and honest with everyone in this room. You've all seen it yourself. You've all experienced it yourselves.
The moment gained traction after Karoline Leavitt stepped up to the podium to address comments that had already sparked backlash. Her response was smooth and controlled, delivered with confidence as she framed the situation as a misunderstanding, suggesting the president had been joking, that critics were misrepresenting his intent, and that the focus had shifted away from what truly mattered. On the surface, it resembled a standard damage control response. But Kimmel recognized a key detail. These explanations tend to work best when moments aren't replayed too carefully. So he did the opposite. He replayed the footage, repeated her explanation, and then placed it directly alongside Trump's original statements, letting the contrast speak without interruption. At first, the audience responded with laughter, as expected. Comedy often provides a release. But as the segment continued, that laughter began to change. It became sharper, more aware. Kimmel wasn't relying on quick jokes anymore. He was constructing a narrative.
It was a tough day for Trump, too. You know, he lost a whole hour of rage posting yesterday. This guy, I don't know what kind of magic cocoon the devil gave him when they made that deal, but somehow he manages to do everything wrong, just rolls right
He
over.
pointed out how similar explanations kept appearing whenever controversial remarks surfaced. The phrase, "he was joking," started to feel less like clarification and more like a consistent fallback. Then came the line that shifted the energy in the room. If every controversial statement is labeled a joke only after backlash begins, then the only people not laughing are the ones tasked with explaining it. The audience reacted strongly, but beneath that reaction was understanding. That was the moment the segment crossed from entertainment into something closer to exposure. Leavitt, notably young for her role, became part of that framing, not as the origin of the controversy, but as the figure positioned to manage it. Kimmel highlighted that contrast, presenting her as someone placed at the front of a situation she didn't create, expected to translate chaos into clarity.
Karoline Leavitt, his press secretary, the woman who keeps insisting Trump didn't draw this or sign this in 2003, she was 5 years old. She was too young even for Jeffrey Epstein in 2001.
That framing resonated because it made the situation feel less like a coordinated strategy and more like ongoing pressure. Trump generated the headlines, and she delivered the responses. From there, Kimmel expanded the structure. He replayed multiple clips in sequence, Leavitt offering clarification, Trump making new remarks, the administration attempting to redirect attention, and then the cycle repeating itself. The pattern became unmistakable. It wasn't a single misstep, it was a recurring loop. And the effectiveness of the segment came from its simplicity. There were no hidden sources or exclusive revelations, just publicly available statements arranged in a way that made the pattern visible. Once viewers could see that structure clearly, each new denial seemed less convincing, and each explanation felt more reactive. By the time the segment concluded, clips were already circulating widely online. People weren't just sharing the jokes, they were sharing the sequence, the comparison, the logic behind it. Many viewers noted that Kimmel had managed to do something that official briefings often struggled with. He made a complex pattern easy to understand. And that may explain the intensity of the response that followed. Trump has frequently pushed back against criticism from traditional media, but satire operates differently. It reaches audiences who may not be actively seeking political analysis and turns repetition into something memorable. And once a pattern becomes memorable, it becomes much harder to dismiss.